rather live old than die young. I would rather...
All right. What is going on, guys? It's Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News, the live call-in show somewhere. I think that's how it goes. First off, I just want to get a couple things out of the way. We're going to get right into the news, but I do want to make sure you guys know nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinion of myself, Dex, or anyone else with the show. Always do your own research and consult with the professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. One confirmed story today could be absolutely bunked tomorrow, so... with that in mind, if you're not getting notifications from the algorithm gods, make sure to check over on our website, marfooglenews.com. You can actually get push notifications directly from us. That way you are not missing shows. If we have a 9 o'clock show or a 7 o'clock show, it will let you know via these push notifications. Let's introduce Dex. Dex is in charge of everything tech and everything amazing. Dex, tell them what they need to do on our website to follow along.
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. Yeah, just head over to marfooglenews.com, and you will see the thumbnail for our show. Every one of our shows are organized by thumbnail, and when you click on that thumbnail, you'll see sort of a bibliography of everything we're going to talk about, all the links, all the information, and then when callers call in and share information, we also add that to the webpage in real time as well. And then on the right side, if you're interested in helping the channel, there are plenty of links and opportunities there for great things for you that can also help the channel and help support what we do.
All right, well, with that out of the way, let's get into the first story. We're going to say hi to chat in just a minute here, but first off, the truth is out there. UFO sightings up this year. Now, today's episode, I do want to encourage you guys right away. The number is 224400MARF. It's actually scrolling down at the bottom here. I want to encourage you, if you've had a weird experience, and this will all actually make sense coming in the next few weeks, why we're even doing this in the first place. But first off, taking a break from some of the geopolitical stuff, we wanted to get into the skies. We've been talking about this for over a year. We wanted to start kind of a one-day-a-week regular show on some of the UFO stuff that's been going on, some of the stuff that's going on in our skies, and that can actually include all sorts of different things. So again, many people have requested this, especially via Twitter. A lot of people have said, why don't you do a show like this? Why don't you take calls like this? That's what we're going to do. So remember, if you've had some sort of crazy experience with this or crazy sighting, or if you have video, make sure to get it to us. If we can get some momentum, we could get some really good footage over the next few weeks on Fridays, Unidentified Friday show. So anyways, we're going to get into it pretty strong here. And then also want to announce we are opening up a Rumble to get into more of the nitty-gritty stuff that we cannot talk about on some of these other platforms. We're going to be talking about that in Rumble. People say, well, why can't you talk about that? Well, obviously people just disappear. It's better to talk soft than to not have a voice. Obviously, I believe my purpose here on this earth, and I really do believe this. If you're new here, I believe I was put here, and this all happened for a reason. I mean, if you guys even knew the backstory of how this channel, we have multiple channels. We have the Marfoogle News at almost 165,000 subscribers. So 2 channels in the top 1.001% of all YouTube creators. 2 of those, it was meant for a purpose. You can go viral and maybe have 1 channel get over 100, but to have 2, that was done with some help from up above. I believe I was put here to help prepare people, and I believe that when we do have some serious events, I don't believe it will be the event that everybody thinks it will be. I think that people will be sideswiped. They'll be preparing for an earthquake, and it will be a tornado, or they'll be preparing for a tornado, and it will be an earthquake. Who knows? But I do believe that we are helping people prepare and get things together, and also helping a whole network of prepper channels also underneath us get a lot of opportunity to teach you guys things. So again, all of that stuff, we have so much coming. We have a forum, basically a place where you guys can communicate. We're going to have groups. We're going to have all sorts of stuff, just like we did have. So again, stay tuned. The truth is out there. UFO sightings up this year. Again, a lot of people have, I mean, it's a daily thing on my Twitter, at least. People are sending me photos of weird things, especially meteors. And, you know, some say that they're not meteors, that there's something coming into our atmosphere. What do you guys think? I would love to hear your opinion on this, and I'm going to go to the chat here in a second, because I know a lot of you have seen something that you can't explain. I've seen stuff. I've seen stuff so many times, it's not even funny. I am, like many of you, probably the people out there that, you know, spend a lot of their time watching this. We're trying to confirm our own, I guess, beliefs, right? We're trained to tell. We're trained to tell ourselves that we're crazy because we see stuff up in the skies. I don't personally think you're crazy. I don't think even some of the crazier considered calls are crazy. At this point, I would not be surprised by anything. Look at the actual facts of what is going on in this world, and you're like, how is that any stranger than fiction? As far as some of the books that were wrote back in the day, as far as, you know, sci-fi, those are all coming true. Everything that sci-fi has claimed over the last 100 years, it's almost like they were like, well, one day we'll have this. And now we're there. We're connecting computers and connecting computers to pigs' brains and humans' brains. We have quantum computing now. I mean, it's just going to drive everything up so fast that we're not ready for it. I think that a lot of this is that we're not even ready for quantum. Quantum answers questions before they're asked. We're talking about AI. Everything that is coming, they know about. They know that we can't keep evolving technology-wise and not change something about what the society is doing right now. They want to change how we even live, and that's my thorough belief. Again, you can debate me on that, and that's totally fine. But I believe that we are getting some serious changes in where we live, in how we live in the next few years, if we still have a place to call home. It says, there has been a significant increase in sightings of UFOs in 2020, both here in Minnesota and across the nation, according to groups who track such events. One of them is MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, which has about 4,000 volunteers around the world who also investigate UFO sightings. The group is featured in the Netflix docuseries Hangar 1, exploring their archive and the database of UFO encounters around the world. In Minnesota, MUFON has 80 volunteers who have documented about 1,226 encounters of UFO sightings in the last 20 years in just about every corner of the state. Now, this is just one state. It's happening all over the world, and of course, most skeptics say, "Oh, it's a government plane, or it's something from China, it's something from Russia, it's something from the U.S., it's one of ours," and they very well may be right. But as far as some of the stuff that we have personally seen, or you have personally seen, it's just not explainable. Just like the video that they now came forward, and a lot of folks thought that was a big distraction from what the news was. The video that was claimed as, yes, that is a real video, and that is something that was confirmed by Pentagon. The Tic Tac ship that was basically going against what we know as physics. Now, think about it. There have been things that have now been discovered just in the last 3 years. Remember, we're in a time where knowledge as a whole is now at the point where it's doubling every day, which is insane. Remember that all of the stuff that has even been discovered in the last few years has changed history books, it's changed science books, it's changed everything. So when people say, oh, I rely on science for this or rely on science for that, what if the science completely changed with the discovery with one meteor? What if we discovered one meteor that hit the ground and said, whoa, this totally changes everything? That is what some people believe. Our military groups say that some of those meteors are actually changing physics altogether. That's something that I think will come out, and I think it will come out soon. I also think that there is something massive, way more massive than what they're covering on the media, is coming our way. That's my opinion. Again, we only share the links, the sources of everything we share here, so you can access them, and you know. But we are allowed freedom of speech, or at least for the time being, I should be able to. I should be able to allow myself to talk about my opinions on some of these things. But of course, that is something that is fleeting in today's world. It says this year there have been 99 sightings so far. Tom Marr is in the Minnesota director of MUFON, says, whenever we get a case that is reported, we are always kind of looking at that. Is there a nuts or bolts phenomenon here, or is it something else? Marr said. It says, we have people with a scientific background, people with a military background, and your average person who has their daily job. Sightings have trended up in the last decade. In the last 20 years, 2015 had the most sightings at 114. Only 6% of the MUFON cases turn out to be hoax. So think about that. If they go in there and they thoroughly look at it, they have debunkers, and they have volunteers that have degrees from Yale. I don't know if you have seen some of the people that are actually working or volunteering at MUFON, but they've got some incredible people from Ivy League schools, which nowadays doesn't mean much. If you have millions of dollars, you can have a Yale degree. But there are some amazingly smart people in there. There's also some very weird people. There's also some very unique people there. It says a couple months back, we peaked at 18 to 20 a month, but that was Elon Musk, and he was launching the SpaceX satellite. So SpaceX obviously had a lot of people thinking that SpaceX was these lines of formation of UFOs, but now, after SpaceX is done and when they're not launching, they're seeing these formations all over the place. We just saw formations in Hawaii. We saw some crazy things above there. Of course, it goes all the way back, it goes back 50 years, but you could even talk about the Arizona Lights and all of these different things that have happened over the years. It is so grandiose, and so many reports and so many people have seen it, and all of the polls say a crazy number of people believe in UFOs or extraterrestrials or fallen angels or whatever you want to call it. There are so many people that believe it that it should just be a fact that they're there, but we just don't have proof of it. How would they be there, though? All of these years, how would so many of us see things we can't explain and still not have any evidence or proof that it is 100% a fact that something is up there? Well, mostly because we can't fly. When we see something in the sky, we are a distance away from it and we can't spot it. I mean, if Bigfoot could fly, I'm sure that would be a good reason why we couldn't find him. But he can't, so that's why a lot of people don't give a lot of credence to the Bigfoot theory. How would they hide if they're on Earth? If they're in the sky, though, that is one thing that they could very well do. Elon Musk earlier this year says, keep your eyes on the skies. And I believe it's because they are throwing signals our way. They are throwing signals out to elites. And that's again, been my opinion. There is something going on. They are making space agencies and space sovereign nations with all the elites. And then to make it look to the regular people down here, oh, you can go to a website and fill out a form and you'll get a little certificate that's saying you're a part of the society and you're part of this sovereign nation in space called Asgardia, when really they are actually doing the paperwork and everything else to become an actual sovereign nation. That doesn't apply to the Joe Schmo that gets their little piece of paper saying that they're resident 4,556. These are real people, and real rich people, I might add. And they are actually in bed with all of these Elon Musks and Bezos that have their own Blue Origin and SpaceX and Virgin and these tourism space companies. They are saying that we need to get to Mars by 2024. Why? Why all of a sudden in the last few years did we create the Space Force? And why is so much of it, turned into something else? They flip it into something that we can believe easily, and we consume it, and it goes in one ear and out the other. We would rather grab the logical reason for this than putting all of the things together and going, this isn't making sense. This is weird. That's my opinion. What's yours? Teardrop UFO cloaked in cloud over California, November 2020. Video UFO sighting news. Check this out. This is a pretty crazy cloud, and some say that it's actually impossible to get a cloud this clean like that. Would you think, here's a question for you, would you think that they would cloak themselves as something like this, or do you think that they would just cloak themselves as invisible? It would seem like they could, if they had the technology to make themselves look like a cloud like this, they could slowly peruse over and scan us all without any problem. The date of this sighting was the 17th, 3 days ago, and it says, as you can see, the person was traveling on a freeway in California when they noticed a huge teardrop-shaped UFO cloud in the distance. Many UFO researchers have been trying to educate the public on what these clouds actually being created by alien craft that hide within them. It says the alien ship creates an invisible shield around it, which holds in the clouds it creates. Thus, the disk's shape matches the shape of the actual UFO. This is 100% proof of alien activity over California. So, by the way, that is a quote. That is not me saying that. This is not 100% proof of it. But to some it is. I mean, really, this is confirmation. But what is really even crazier is if you zoom in on this, and we're going to link this so you guys can watch this video. What's even crazier, or could be an explanation, is all of the windmills are right in sight. Dex, did you notice that there's all of these, I mean, just gigantic fans there? Do you think that could create an artificial kind of air form that would create a cloud like that? Or do you think that would make it impossible for a cloud like that to form? It just seems weird. There's 1,000 windmills right in sight of this weird teardrop cloud.
Yeah, Adam, I agree. That is an interesting fact that you probably have to take into consideration when we're looking at this cloud. But that teardrop cloud is literally all alone, right? And it's really odd that it's just sitting right there.
I don't know. That is pretty crazy. The video itself, they're driving by and it barely moves, so you're basically seeing it. But if you guys want to check it out, you can go to marfooglenews.com and you can find that there. Of course, later you'll be able to go through all of these right on our page, and it's going to be great. We tried to reach out to some of these folks to get permission, which we did on one, but I believe that before the show we even debunked it. So we try to debunk these before we show them, just to make sure. Sometimes I'm sure there will be something, but this is weird. Have you seen something like this? Of course, I just saw somebody say that they saw lights in Arizona. Make sure to call in. The number is 224-400-MARF. If you have some sort of crazy sighting, then please do. Looks like Truthflix is here. Just a Girl, Chad, the other guy. Thank you so much. Crystal Diller, thank you for the massive support of our channel. Looks like you did a $20 super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. You can always write something unless you did super sticker. Keith and Queen Brad, thank you guys for both supporting from wherever you are, whether you're driving across the country or at home. Thank you so much. Says, hey, Adam, you are definitely a godsend. It's because of you and the fam. We are completely prepped and up ready for anything. Thank you for caring. That is awesome. Thank you so much for letting us know that. After the first lockdown, a lot of people said that just because it was repeated so many times, they ended up getting extra stuff. They ended up having extra toilet paper and all of this. And that was before we even had the first empty shelves. They were all good because of that. Now, nobody died because there was no toilet paper on the shelves, but it was definitely a huge inconvenience. But one thing that did happen in some places is people had to drive 60, 70 miles to get meat, or somebody said that they drove 120 miles to get some of their groceries because the town they were in was so panicked. I hope that if something, I mean, think about it, and nothing super serious has actually happened yet. What about a grid down situation? That's what I've been talking about for a long time. There's absolute evidence that they are not only concerned about it, but they are doing everything in their power to try to fix it, and they don't think we're there yet. Stonemaster Kevin, thank you from Canada, says, I keep subscribing because I like your channel a lot, and I get unsubscribed 2 days later. So I keep missing notifications. I have a lot of subscribers on my YouTube. This never happens to them. Makes no sense. Stonemaster Kevin, just like everybody else, it's weird. We've been at 136,980, and it goes up by 100, and it goes down by 100. It's whatever we gain that day, it goes down by that same amount. That just started happening. Before, it would slow down. It was definitely not what it used to be, but it was never like this. It's like frozen. But I stay positive. It stayed frozen before. There's ups and downs in the algorithms, and it's absolutely crazy. People say that people accused us last year of not getting censored, but they don't see it. They don't get it. We just have a really loyal audience that goes out of their way to look us up. If you look up Marfoogle TV, it's crazy that it shows up above the search on half of the phones. So when you look it up, it won't show you the actual icon and the channel. You have to scroll up after you've searched. That's weird. Either way, stuff like that, it's just like, why? Really, as always, thank you for all Adam and Dex do. Really, thank you so much for your support, and that means a massive amount to us. Robert Tauterus, glad to catch you live. Probably watch most on replay tomorrow. Thank you, and thank you to the replay watchers again. I appreciate you guys. We're going to be reading some comments from the last show at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. Chad, the other guy, says, from our family to yours, happy Thanksgiving, and be safe. Thank you again, Ty Palomino. And then looks like Ty Palomino says, hi from Amarillo, Texas. We'll be listening while driving. That's awesome. I'll try to talk with my best radio voice. Let's get ready to rumble. But seriously, we are opening up a Rumble, so make sure to check us out on Rumble. All right, and then this is an actual map. I'm going to actually freeze this here. Let's see. If you want to check that video out, remember, marfooglenews.com. So, Dex, can you explain this map? Basically, this is how many sightings there have been kind of visualized. Is there something that you can add to this?
Yeah, Adam, this is just a visualization. Somebody has taken all of the information that they've been logging across all of the I can't remember what the source is. You have to look at the bottom. But they actually log all the UFO sightings, and they've taken that data and they've put it into this visual report that lets you see where since 1995 to 2014, 58,000 sightings and where they've actually been seen in America. So that's kind of a heat map and lets you, it's kind of interesting. And then you've got on the side, I think it shows by month and hour and day when it seems to be more likely than not to see these things.
What's even crazier about that is that that's just from 1995 to 2014. We've had crazy alien sightings, especially back in the 80s. There was a ton. There was a huge uptrend and people on a daily. I mean, would you guys agree? I know that some of you had some very crazy experiences in the 70s and 80s, let alone the 60s or back to the 40s when really the whole kind of UFO craze started after the Roswell crash. What do you think? On another note, though, on preparedness, I hope that a lot of you are looking into this. If you're new here, if you have not checked into EMP Shield, I highly recommend doing it. It is one of the few devices that is actually Keystone tested and is used by different military agencies. EMP Shield is actually now officially part of the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. But what this device does when wired into, say, your house or your car or your solar system or even your generator, it grounds the signal before it has a chance to fry your device. But this will also work for a solar flare. So if we get the natural version of this, we can also be protected. Again, I think that this is something that I would wish that the government or the power companies would automatically set you up with when you move and set up with a power company. If they did that or did some sort of subsidy for that or made you even pay for it, say it's $100 to sign up for a new power account and you get one of these, I have a lot of ideas of why everybody should have one of these. It's a no-brainers, and I'm talking about anywhere in the world. Look at what happened to Venezuela when they had a complete grid down situation, and that was on purpose. Some even say that was a test run. You can go to marfooglenews.com/EMP and check it out. It does block against all three phases, E1, E2, and E3. It's a veteran-owned business, and it's 100% American-made. And not only that, after their government contracts a year and a half ago, after T-Man signed the bill to emergency, basically revamp our grid, they have now created not only more jobs, but they're about to create a whole lot more. They're building factories. It's pretty awesome, and they're all going to be here. So we want to make sure that if we work with a company, that not only do we believe in them, but we also want to support American businesses and things here. Just as you should if you're in Australia or in Europe. You should support where you're at, not somewhere else. We're going to get into this in a second. We could, I guess, Dex, let me know how the calls are. Again, the number is 224-400-MARF. We're taking calls on experiences from out of this world. So remember that, 224-400-MARF. Diego Sanchez saw a UFO last night and says, it was watching me. This is the UFC welterweight veteran Diego Sanchez was back on Twitter last night, and for those who don't follow, quote, the nightmare on social media, I can promise you're missing out. Look no further than yesterday's UFO sighting, which apparently is a regular occurrence in his neck of the woods. He says, I was doing energy work on my patio as a UFO flight flew right up on me. Sanchez wrote on Twitter, I called for my daughter. I said, quick, quick. She watched this thing hover over hundreds of feet away. Albuquerque is a trip. Sightings are regular here. But this shit was contact tonight. It was obvious it was watching me. That was his quote. So he said it was obvious it was watching me. Now, we've seen a lot of celebrities come out and actually support this. We've even seen presidents come out and say that they have seen UFOs. Do you think that these people are absolutely crazy, or do you agree with them? Do you think they're making a mistake by it? Nowadays, they're not looked down upon like they used to be. Even the military is telling all of its Navy to report any UFO sighting they see. Do you think that's because they are either looking out for ET or Russia and China? Do you think either one of those? It says, I think I'm more interested in his, quote, energy work than his UFO sighting because I don't know what that means. Was he doing some kind of mystical yoga workout, building solar panels, training himself for the electric chair at a la Horse Pinker? Sanchez could be the only UFC fighter more compelling than flying saucers. Today, a powerful portal of light energy is open, Sanchez continued. If there is ever a night to connect with the universe, tonight is the night. I've been celebrating and connecting all day. So the guy seems like he's a little bit up there. He might be even, I guess, what do you call it? Modern, what do they call that? The New Age or something? Is he New Age? I don't know. Or he could have Hispanic culture. They do have some things in Hispanic culture that, spirits and things like that, depending on what kind of culture he's from. But it says Sanchez isn't the only fighter to pull the UFO card. Retired UFC champ Georges St. Pierre says he was abducted by aliens in New Mexico. Seriously. And even newly anointed city councilman Tito Ortiz has witnessed strange aerial phenomenon. Says, I'm that guy, Sanchez insists, and my magic is real. So do you think he actually saw something, or do you think he's doing this for social media? Do you think that he is just trying to grab attention? Some who are really big fans, of course, say he saw something. And then, of course, critics say that he's just trying to be relevant. Don't know. I was actually surprised to see that Georges St. Pierre, he said that. I did not hear about that, and he was a huge UFC fighter. And then we have dark hole in sun appears is 300 times the size of Earth. Photos UFO sighting. So this is a trip. Look at that. That is 300 times the size of Earth on the sun, and it was some sort of dark hole. It says now NASA won't be talking about this today or anytime soon. A giant hole has appeared at the northern pole of our sun today. The hole is 300 times the size of Earth. And now this recent photo actually confirms my earlier theory called hollow sun theory, where a mini solar system actually exists in a hollowed out center of our sun. So this sounds a little bit loopy too. It says, ships need a way to come and go on large scales, and opening huge doorways like this allows them to not only allow ships in and out, but also bring in mini moons and planets. which are actually space stations. Yes, the theory sounds odd, but stop thinking in human terms where our lifetime ends in 90 to 100 years and start thinking like an alien. It says, who will never die of natural causes. Then time to make things means little to you. Time itself means nothing to you. No pain, no loss, no hard labor, since you delegate that to AI-controlled robots. All things are easy to create, no matter what those things are. Now you are on the right path of thinking like an alien. What do you guys think of this photo? I'm sure you've probably seen this. I'm sure somebody like Wages World or someone like this is going to be covering things like this. Does this mean something else? That's actually quite fantastical right there. So this is the theory here. This is kind of a diagram of what this person thinks. I like how they put a Death Star in the middle. But one thing, though, have you seen some of the pictures that have had things coming up to the sun and almost looking like they suck energy out? Some of those have been from official sources as far as the things coming up and looking like they're sucking energy from the sun. There's even some Yale and Harvard professors that believe that there has been some far-off planets that they've seen, that they almost believe that there's some sort of exoskeleton drawing power from the sun. There's a theory that they could build this kind of, exoskeleton around a sun and actually draw power from it. If it was some sort of material that could survive the sun's, energy, it would be built around it. And the reason they thought this is, I believe in one of those cases, it was because we were seeing the light dim and get brighter, as if something was rotating around it. Some crazy stuff. It was something I covered about 2 years ago, but there's been a lot of weird stuff since. I'll go over to the chat and see what you guys think. See here, Wages World did do something, somebody says. Same professors say more than two genders too. I saw that, DMK Pit. Let's see, Lisa Renee, GG, it's all falling into place. Able-bodied seen UFO draw power from lightning. So that's actually something we covered last year. Occam's Razor says, I would like to see Greenland myself. Here's another thing that's really weird. So Greenland is the movie with Gerard Butler that shows a meteor hitting the planet. There is no solid answer. I've looked all over the internet of when it's actually going to be re-released on Prime. It said that October 25th or 27th. There was two different things that said. Well, first of all, it was supposed to come out in, I want to say July, and then it was pushed back to August, and then it was pushed back to September, and it was going to come out September 17th. And they were pushing it back because of CV and all that. But then they said, oh, no, it's not coming out until next year. Then they said October 27th it was going to come out on Prime Video. Then there was a story that said that HBO picked up and it would only be on HBO Go. None of them have it yet. And then they keep coming out with these things saying that it's going to come out. Why are they pushing that back? Every other movie that has been canceled from theaters, and a lot of movies have had this similar thing where they put $130 million into the budget. They spent millions and millions of dollars on these movies, and then they can't release them at theaters, so they can't make their money at the box office. There's been tons of examples like that, but what they do is they make a deal with Netflix or, Hulu or, On Demand, and they say, hey, we'll make this as a theater release at home. So they'll charge $20. Right now there's like The Informer and The Craft, the new Craft movie, the remake, that you pay $20 and you can watch the movie. It's just like buying a ticket, only more expensive. And that was the thing. But this movie has not come out. And if you've seen the movie, I saw a version because it did come out in one place. And I'm trying to think of, I think it was Belgium. Belgium did release it. And then it went through and some people actually took video of it. And I saw a copy of it. It was a free copy. It was right there. It wasn't, didn't have to do anything special for it. Renegade PD actually sent me one on DVD. So I saw this movie and in pretty poor quality. So I've been waiting to see it in perfect, HD high quality. And if it cost $20 to rent, I would do it. And a lot of others would too. Why aren't they releasing it? The actual movie shows the presidential alert being used and selecting certain people. It all brings me back to October 3rd of 2018 when they did that test for the presidential alert. That is the doomsday alert. That is what they would do if nukes were heading our way or if a meteor was going to hit us in a year. Why did they test that? And why just weeks after they tested that, why did they test New York? They did a actual huge simulation simulating New York being hit with a meteor. And it failed miserably. Basically, they said that they are so unprepared, it was just stupid. So why are they pushing it back? Is it too realistic? It also has an interstellar comet, that the thing that is coming in, Clark in the trailer and everything else, it's an interstellar visitor. It's just like a Muamua scout or whatever, and it's coming and it just has a train of stuff and it doesn't stop. And of course, the movie says that they're sending people to Greenland to a bunker, a deep underground military base, and they ride it out while the rest of the world is destroyed. Only certain people are picked. It kind of ties into the whole fact that we're doing these space agencies. We're doing Asgardia. We're trying to get to Mars. We're trying to terraform Mars. What is going to happen to Earth? Or is anything going to happen to Earth? Is something going to happen to our moon and throw us out of whack where we can't have plants? We can't. We will be totally out of swing, and humans won't be able to live here anymore. It's a weird thought. What do you guys think? Nowhere to hide, says Brian Knight. Michael Corson says, hope you are all having a good night. Awesome. Thank you for being awesome. Terry Catterley, good to see you. Good to see you. Occam's Razor, thank you so much for being here as well. We've got Vic Ellie, thank you. On a Mission, thank you so much. We also have a huge crew over on D Live, Johnny Doom. We've got Keon Nilsson, Richard White, Cutie Pie Angelica. Nice to see you here again. I've missed you a couple days. Donald Goodall, Gigi Loves Jesus, On a Mission, CJ Blaze, Brent Hooper, Devon Elizabeth Bradley. Thank you so much. Peaceful Waters, love you too. Harriet Hudson, This Planet Will Burn. World is about to change forever, says Lord Andrew. So a lot of us believe that thoroughly. Longtime pilot photographs mysterious orange orb in daytime sky over NC Mountains, North Carolina, of course. It says, as a 45-year-old pilot, Charles Cobb had never seen anything like the orange-tinged orb high in the North Carolina mountains sky on a sunny late morning in June. It says the object was round and irregular, he said. And it says it would suddenly plummet tens of thousands of feet before soaring right back up, he said. Cobb, an 88-year-old Korean War veteran, spotted the mysterious object while sitting at Silver Creek Airport at Morganton, where he visits each day to check the 1940 Piper Club he keeps in a hangar. It says minutes ticked by as the object and its exhaust plume hovered about 30 to 40,000 feet high toward Table Rock, Cobb said. It says he was referring to the plateaued peak northwest of Asheville, that it's a popular tourist destination for its panoramic views of the surrounding Linville Gorge, as described by Asheville Trails. Cobb said that he finally pulled out his iPad and took photos of the flying object and its opaque center. It says it's hard to tell the size of the thing, but he said that although he distinctly recalled the craft dropping in at frames or at times to maybe 15,000 feet before shooting back up to at least 30,000 feet. So what he's saying is it's basically doing stuff that it shouldn't be able to do. I'm going to show you a picture of what he actually got. And of course, it's hard to see, but like he said, it has an opaque center. Now, if you watch the original, it comes into a lot more context. We do not have the copyright rights to actually watch the video, but we're going to connect you. So if you're on a second device, you can go on our website and you can actually click through and watch this live. To me, I guess it doesn't look like much unless you see the video in context. It really is pretty insane. So make sure to check this out. It goes up and down and it flies. It doesn't seem like anything normal, and it definitely does not seem like a helicopter, that's for sure. What do you think? Give me your opinion. Watch the video and leave me a comment down below. Again, thank you for everyone that has been watching the replays afterwards. It seems like we're getting some throttling things here, so thank you. And thanks for going out of your way to spend some time with us. If you want to help us in any other way, I would highly recommend getting a virtual private network. There's more hacking going on than ever before. And if you are using public networks of any kind, Wi-Fi at a cafe or Wi-Fi for your work or Wi-Fi if your kids are using it for their games, I would highly recommend doing this because one account you can get up to 70% off on a 3-year plan, can be used on 6 devices. So your phone, your kid's phone, your laptop, your husband's, your wife's laptops, any number of devices, up to 6 simultaneous connections. It basically puts your IP somewhere else. It's super easy. You just turn it on or turn it off. There's even a mode where it just automatically does everything for you. Marfooglenews.com/VPN. It helps out the channel. Again, there's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you don't have to worry. If you don't like it, you can just tell them you don't like it. All right, and let's go into it. I'm Dex. I'm going to pull up the screener here. Again, the number is 224-400-MARF. We are taking any call relating to sightings or videos or pictures of sightings. So let me pop this open real quick. And let's see here. It looks like we have Now You See Me, Now You Don't, a first-time caller from the state of Jefferson. Dex, do you want to get Now You See Me, Now You Don't? And we'll see what he's got. And then it looks like Ayanawa, another first-time caller, actually has some vids.
And Adam, Now You See Me, Now You Don't is live.
Now You See Me, what's going on?
How you doing, Adam? I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. So what is your story here? What was your experience?
Well, my experience, I've got a few of them, but the one in particular I'm kind of focus in on is took place about mid-80s. I was about 11, 12 years of age. I'm 46 now. I had a pretty good argument with my mom, and at that time, and it was summertime, late at night. My dad was out playing softball. I was waiting for him to come back because I wanted to talk to him. So in my bedroom, there was a sliding glass window door that goes out to our backyard, and about 15 feet straight ahead, there's a concrete wall, and then a 45-degree straight up a hill that we had in our backyard, a mountain pretty much, 1 or 2 trees, and that's about it. Well, it was a night that was dark, but we had a moon. And I remember going to bed that night, but I had my clothes on, and I had a mattress on the floor in my bedroom, my feet aimed towards my sliding glass window. I had just waiting for Pops to come back. I ended up falling asleep on top of my mattress with the sliding glass window open, the screen door shut and locked. At that time, I knew it was already late in the night, and my dad, everything was off, the lights, so I assumed my dad was already at home, but in bed with my mom. I get up and I go to close my glass window, and I happen to look up and I see 2 orb lights, probably basketball shaped size, right at the peak of the mountain. Now there was the moon had already gone over the hill, so there was a little bit of light, so I could see. First thought was maybe somebody was with the flashlight up above, but there was no silhouette of anybody except these 2 orbs or lights. They were probably about 30 to 40 feet between from each other, and one would move up probably about 20 feet, and then come back down. And then the second one would go up and come back down. Now, at that age, I would have been freaked out at any given moment in time like that, like probably most kids would be. But something kind of came over me and calmed me. And all I did was just close the sliding glass window, lock it, close my blinds, go back to my bed, took off my clothes. I was in my boxers, jumped in the bed, covered myself up, and I laid there, not in fear, but just kind of in, like I was not being held, but not able to do anything and not think anything negative or positive, just kind of figure out, kind of like in awe a little bit. And then there was a gust of wind of some sort that kind of hit the house and like it went over or something like that, and it was gone. And I don't remember anything after that until I woke up. And then, of course, I went and ran into my dad's room and was like screaming at the top of my lungs, something happened. And of course, he he didn't believe me. And till this day, he doesn't believe me, but my brother does. But anyways, that's my story. I don't know what happened in particular, but it was always odd to me that at that age and at that time, I would have freaked out and ran for my dad as quick as possible when any kind of danger happened. But it was just really, and I don't know if anybody else has had that kind of an experience before, but definitely one that I won't ever forget.
Well, no, and doesn't it also not feel nice to not have your dad believe you all these years later and he still doesn't believe you? Or just anybody. If you tell somebody and they just think, it's something that you were there, but nobody else is there. That's why the things I've seen, it's just like, you can tell somebody, but unless they see it for themselves, they don't get it. Once you've seen it, you can't go back.
Yeah, I have a story that had my children, actually, they're all adults now, but they were in a backyard in a house that we were living in, and they saw something fly above our house. And so I'm at that point in time, I can go to my dad and say, hey, I wasn't the only one that saw something. So ask your grandchildren, but definitely not all those years, throughout the years, not having anybody really believe you, but knowing something happened, not sure what. It's definitely one to hold. Like it did bother me, but I held strong to myself, knowing, hey, I'm not lying. There's no reason for me to lie or make that up. But it was an interesting story that I've had all these years.
Well, a lot of people in the chat as well have had their own stories as well. I'm actually getting a few things, just like somebody actually just put a message up there that said in 1986 they had an experience. Everybody remembers where they were when they had it. If you've had a stronger experience, then it just doesn't go away. It burns in your mind. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And again, this is your first time call. Don't be a stranger. Don't make it your last.
I appreciate it, Adam. You guys do an amazing job, you and Dex and the whole entire crew, the family, the mods. I've listened to Art Bell when he was alive, when he was younger, and before he passed on, and to George Norrie. To me, and I'm sure a lot of other callers would say, you're Art Bell 2.0, and we appreciate you. We truly do. Thanks, Dex.
Well, that's a huge honor, and of course, I don't think we're there yet, but I appreciate it, and thank you so much for calling. Now you see me, now you don't. First time. No, that's an honor. Art Bell and even George Norrie, those guys are legends. They've turned regular radio into, legendary stories that people will remember for the rest of their lives. They also cover some of the craziest stuff. I have not heard them lately. I have not heard George Norrie recently, though. I haven't listened to the regular stuff. Haven't had time. Raymond Knight says, nice guy. Yeah, no, I think that was a great caller, and thank you guys for everybody saying thank you, caller, thank you, caller. Doesn't matter what the caller is. Just to remind you, if you are new and if you've never been around for the callers, especially when lately we've been doing some of the more extreme ones off of platforms, just remember that some people have all different stories. There was one gentleman who called in who had a stroke, had a speech impediment. People were saying, oh, this guy's drunk or whatever else because he was having problems. One, he was nervous because he was calling in front of thousands of people. But two, he had actual issues. Think about that when you say something negative about somebody. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what their life has been. You don't know if they've been, in some cases there was another person just horribly abused. You have no idea. That's why you see all these people around. Even if you see somebody that's just being a jerk, they're probably being a jerk because of something that happened to them. They're probably being a jerk because they have been hurt so bad that it's all coming out. It's kicking the cat. I've told you guys about that many times. So we just treat people positively. This is the one place you can come and say, if you call in, everybody's going to thank you, whether your call was good or bad or whatever. That was a great call, though. But just want to remind people of the general rules. I say we get a Anawa on here. I think I'm saying that right. A-N-W-A-H. A Anawa. A-Ana. Anawa. Am I saying it right, Dex? Probably.
Hello.
It's
Hello.
Anna. Anna, you are now live.
No, so not at all.
Hello.
Anna. Okay, got it. Ottawa. All right, got it. So we've got some links here. What are we pulling up, Anna?
Well, so, from watching your show, we've been encouraged to start looking up in the sky. So lately we've been noticing more and more like crafts in the sky, just sitting stationary though. You would almost think maybe that they're like a star or something, but now they've been coming down a little bit more and more. And this is all after like 11 o'clock. And, we used to see like 2 or 3 of them. And lately we've seen more and more of them, like 6 to 10 over the neighborhood. And they have like a sound, but they're not silent. We're just assuming they're drones because that's what they look like. But they'll fly back and forth for at least an hour, kind of like in formation. But it's super weird. The other night, my husband wakes up in the middle of the night and he's totally freaked out. And he's not the type to be like, he's a total skeptic about everything. And there were bright lights shining in our window. And he was super freaked out about it. So he woke me up and so that's like weird thing number 2. Next weird thing. So these are the videos. We started taking video of it. Like I'd run outside in the backyard and then try and run outside in the front yard to catch them all. But me and my son went to go pick up a piece of furniture in like a nearby neighborhood. And they're about, 4 miles away. And my son goes, check it out. And we're up on a hill and we're driving down. So we have like a pretty good view of the neighborhood that we're pulling out of. And there's literally a drone on top of every block sitting stationary. Like not even higher than the treetops. It actually started to freak us out a little bit.
And you knew these ones were drones, and you know it for sure. These were all drones in Coruscant.
That's all I could assume. Like because they had lights, so I don't know. But so.
Oh, weird! You've got video of it.
Yeah. There's just been so many of them.
This is why I think this is why Elon's telling people to look into the skies. Something's going on. Maybe it's even government. Yeah. Maybe government, because I remember so what I was told by someone in our military group, and I trust this person, that we are going to see a drastic change in the next 2 years in that part of the sky between the planes and between us. And hobbyists, we're going to be cut slowly out of it, so we can't take up our DJIs. where we'll have to get approval for everything. But the commercial space and government space, they're going to have that area filled with all sorts of stuff. Are they actually clearing space for something else? Maybe someone else? I don't know. It's weird.
Well, San Diego law now, you have to have a license. You can't fly a drone past, well, what they're trying to say is past 2 feet. I mean, I'm sure people do it anyways, but it's becoming more and more strict.
Yeah, so you'll actually have to go to flight school, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, super weird. So my family are surfers. All my boys are surfers, and they check the surf line pretty often, sometimes late at night because the moonlight will, shine the waves or whatever. And the surf line is a live footage of almost any beach break in the world. And it can be frustrating, though, if you don't have an account because there's so many commercials. But anyways, my teen boys check it all day long. They look at it one night and said, "Hey, Mom, check this out." And usually nothing, unless the moonlight catches it or whatever. But they saw 2 lights in the water that were approximately 60 feet apart. And one was a little bit higher than the other one. And that's the mystery video that's on there.
Now, is that I don't know if I'm on that one. You said it had 2 lights and it was 2 different colors?
No, they're the same.
Okay. There's one that's labeled drones over SD coast. Is that the one? Or is that something else?
No, it would be the mystery. I think I put mystery in the title.
Okay, I'll pull that one up right now. The weird part is, and the ones...
And it's kind of,
go ahead.
It's kind of frustrating because it has commercials, but it's a public site.
Okay, let's see here.
But you can catch it. Just in between the commercials, you can catch. And then the super weird story behind that is that, so this is 11:30 at night. And I was like, "Hey, let's go check it out," because I'm thinking it's a big military ship just right off the coast. We're going to see something pretty cool. And we get down there and there's nothing. So we're like, okay, so it must have, gone either north or west, north or south. So let's go check it out. So we drive, nothing, can't see anything, no huge ships, nothing. And we go north, probably a mile, and we check Surfline again, and the lights are back. We're like, what the heck? So we drive back down to Cardiff North, and there's nothing there. So the only thing that we could think of is that maybe it was a sub. I don't know.
That is weird.
Super weird. Yeah, super weird coincidence is the what's that company that the band leader started? Academy to the Stars or whatever.
Dex, and you can chime in too if you know either. It's not popping up in my brain.
Yeah, I think it's Academy to the Stars or Star Academy, and he supposedly is going to introduce the world to UFOs and all that stuff. His retail store is here in our town, and he lives here.
Is it Tom? Is it Tom DeLonge? DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge.
Okay, somebody. The chat is always great at picking out that kind of stuff. Now I know what you're talking about. Okay, I did not know that. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he lives here and he has a retail store here. So we've always thought that probably we'll start seeing some weird stuff, but just a lot more activity than we've ever seen before. And there's definitely just kind of a weird feeling happening because we're a really quiet little town considering that we're in San Diego, and yeah, just weird stuff.
Well, you being in San Diego too, you probably have some military experiments that are going along the coast. I have a feeling that some of this may be military. So again, I'm assuming because you have seen planes your entire life, any of these videos, you guys know the difference between planes and something else. I do too. I look up in the sky, I know planes, and I even know like, oh, that's questionably a plane. I'll wait and see. And then you wait and see, and you're like, that is not a plane. As far as this, those aren't anybody who flies a plane or has their license. These are weird lightings on this. This one with the green and red, just two lights, but they're not blinking in the same fashion. They don't have a white placement. They don't have. It's just weird. So it's probably a drone. Maybe they put lights on it.
Yeah. Sorry, but my brain goes towards like, what kind of stuff are they going to try and make people believe? And that's, I feel like that's more what we have to be prepared for.
Well, thank you so much.
Like,
by the way, we're going to send people over. If you want to go over to Anna's channel, the spelling of it, of course, might be hard for somebody to figure out. So we've made it really easy. We're going to make sure your link is right on our website so people can go over and check out the videos for themselves. In fact, you guys can go zoom in, of course, take your 4K screens and look at it with as much or as, zoomed in or zoomed out and check those out. Thank you, Anna, for calling in tonight, and I appreciate it. Please don't be a stranger.
Yeah, thanks for doing what you do.
Well, thank you. Thank you for helping being part of it. So I appreciate you, and of course, we'll be sending the Foogle fam with Foogle Love Mob. So we'll see you in a minute. All right, bye-bye.
Have a nice night.
So there's 3 videos there. All of them are going to be available over on the website, marfooglenews.com. You'll be able to easily just go down to the bottom of the screen on this, and it will be updated in just a few minutes. So it will be right here. You'll see caller info. You'll see the last caller. Now you see me, now you don't. And then her info here. That was Anna. And of course, if you saw the spelling of it and just want to go over and say hi, you can do that as well. Again, that's it right there. We do what's called a love mob, where we head over and say hi and say how much we appreciate them. Let me see here. Boom, boom. Oh, that was weird. It went backwards, not forwards. I'll just leave a comment, and then if you guys want to respond to my comment or say hi, let's see. I'll leave it on. More drones, half a mile inland. And I'll say, Foogle fam roll call. Bam. Okay. Let's see here. Z Phase says, I was at the Contact in the Desert event in 2017. Lots of UFOs zipping around in the night sky. Could be seen with night vision goggles. CITD was a cool experience. Z Phase, I actually have friends that went to that, and they said they had a blast. That was, of course, before this year, which I'm sure even if they're not doing any kind of thing like that. Mixing Bowl Man, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the Foogle fam. And then Joseph Newhouse says, I don't know if you read these or reverse or most recent, but I feel like the video relates to a quote, out of this world experience specifically relating to Christ. I might be missing something there. But thank you, Joseph. Neil Nelson, Adam and Dex, bless you both, and the mods to all. Happy Thanksgiving. It's crazy how fast Thanksgiving is coming up on us. And then Barefoot Lass says, a blessed Thanksgiving to Adam, Dex, mods, and Foogle family. Thank you very much. Joseph Newhouse says, previous comment, 4-minute video, yo. Yo streamed a dance and then saw Marfoogle live. I have not watched the video yet, but it might be hot. Tiptoe. Joseph, you are a fun guy. Let's see here. Not a mushroom. Let's see here. Dan L. Values. Thank you. Huge support. I don't know if that was a super sticker, but if it was a super chat, you can always write something there. You can write a message. You can say hi or say your famous quote or whatever you want. Chad, the other guy, says aliens equals light spectrums unseen by the human eye. I've not actually heard, something like that since probably it's been a year since somebody has talked like that. Neil Nelson, Adam, in 1986, a UFO landed on one of our farms. 3 feet high aliens got out and chased my dad, Dr. Neil. Wow. Again, that is Dr. Neil that's speaking right there. Isn't that crazy? There's so many people that have if that again is your experience, there's no reason for you to, lie to random people. Do you ever tell people that in public? Probably not, right? Because people are going to think you're crazy. I just think that society and all needs to start meeting up and say, what did you see? This isn't something you talk about. The water cooler, talk at work. If this was normal, if we were talking about this kind of stuff, I bet you would pop up so much more. Again, thank you, Neil Nelson. Great comment there. And then, these are the best emotes to use, says Joseph Newhouse. Star, fire, fist, hand, peace, crying, heart. I will take your advice. And then EO2 Dave says, major, almost world-ending catastrophes have happened in the past. History always repeats itself. EO2 Dave, I've been saying that exact thing for 3 years, and I believe something really bad happened about last year with that submarine. But again, we will probably not know. Road to Hana says, hello, a lot of drones over the country. Why? And then Zippy Moons, shout out to Susan Donahue. We need more hashtag Team Humanity. That is awesome. And she's become a staple. I think she's been having, she's probably busy with life. It's 2020. But she always gets a shout out here. She's a permanent Foogle family Hall of Famer. Geode Rocks says, just received a 1-month subscriptions from Veteran Steve. That's awesome. Veteran Steve, thank you so much. I played your song even when you weren't here, I believe. Gem, KCH3. No, you ended up showing up at the end. I think you always come. I don't think you ever miss a show. I think sometimes you just don't chat. Dixie Doe, Geode Rocks, thank you for hosting. That is super awesome. I appreciate that. Hosting now brought 12 people over to the Foogle fam. Temp Newt, 62, thank you so much. Christopher Jones, researched the mRNA Vs that they're rolling out at warp speed before you inject them. We're gonna have a rumble about that. Zippy Moons, drones gave us the roan, says Zippy Moons. Hashtag look up. That's a weird thought. So that last woman's video with them all over the place and hovering, think about if they could disperse something. That's a crazy thought. In fact, in China, they had them too. Almost every country that had it, there was a story about drones flying around with speakers telling people. Michigan Girl, thank you for being here again. Dixie Doe, Renegade Petey, thank you again for sending me those discs. Charlie64, That Chalky Gal, Nelly 14, and Renegade Petey. I trust you too. I actually, it's rare for me to take something like that and put it into my computer. Sending happy vibes to all. Love the Foogle fam. Kelly1971, thank you so much. Penny Hutchins, thank you for your support tonight. There's also some people that I missed, so I'm going to go back on those as well in just a moment. All right, let's see here. Man, oh man. There is just like fake news coming out every 5 minutes, man. It's crazy. Craziness. This is I wanted to read this real quick, and then we're going to get into the next callers. Are we simply looking for life in the wrong places, in the wrong way? Would we even recognize the signs, one astronomer says, out there that ideas may point the way to ET? It says, why haven't we found alien life yet? Blame our closed minds. That statement alone, without going into this article, I do believe that people are pretty closed-minded about this in general, and they are conditioned by media to say that if you haven't seen something directly, that it doesn't exist. When we know, you don't see air, it exists. You don't see a lot of things, and it exists. Limits don't sit well with Avi Loeb. Loeb quickly reels some off to me over the phone. It says hands-free during a drive home from work. About 25 billion stars, roughly 1/4 of those that reside in the Milky Way, lie in a habitable zone. He rounds that down to even 10 billion to keep the calculation simple. And then there are about 1 trillion galaxies like the Milky Way, he says, which means there are about 1,022 10 billion trillion planets in the observable universe that could potentially host life as we know it. It says, in other words, searches for extraterrestrial life have barely scratched the surface. As in other areas of exploratory science, Loeb says we should investigate thoroughly before making sweeping pronouncements. It says most of the searching so far, he adds, has been in the radio range where scientists have examined a tiny fraction of the possible search space. Surveys in optical wavelengths have been much less extensive for any new technology we develop. Loeb says we should consider whether somewhere an alien civilizations might have developed it, possibly leaving behind some detectable traces as our technology improves. That could help us imagine things we haven't imagined before and explore things we haven't searched for before. It's, as far as a lot of this, it's that we are, and they've done studies on this, we are physically closed to a lot of ideas that people have said in the past are crazy. And that is something that we really have to get over, and that is something that we need to keep and hold dear, freedom of speech and being able to speak and have ideas and go against the grain, because if you don't go against the grain sometimes, then nothing would ever change, and we'd be stuck in a horrible gray place, just absolutely horrendous place if that is where we are headed. So I'm hoping that most of you guys agree. Frogchan.com, thank you for following. Welcome to the Foogle fam. Lots of new people just popped in. Kedchalik or Kedachik, thank you so much as well. Mystic Misfit, and again, Burlees, thank you. Jeep71 and all the other new people that have popped over to DLive, thank you. Vibron, thank you. Policis, thank you. And then Dex, why don't we pull in, we're going to get our next caller on deck. If you want to get D, a first-time caller, has a story about a triangular craft and mutilation. Let's see here. What's up, D? You are live on Marfoogle News.
Hi, Marfoogle. How you doing?
Hi, how are you? So you have a story about a craft, is that right?
Well, a craft and a cow mutilation. Actually, 3 cows was mutilated.
Whoa. So I go ahead. Calling from Alabama. This is D.
Lookout Mountain, Alabama. Smoky Mountain Parkway. I've lived on this mountain all my life. It was spring break, March of 93, I believe. We owned a small cattle farm, just a few hundred head of cattle. My oldest daughter was 12, and she had fell and broke her ankle. We had planned on going camping that week. Well, in lieu of her breaking her ankle, we didn't want to take the other 2 kids out and them have fun, her not be able to. So we decided we'd camp in the yard. About 9:30 that night, the cows got stirred up, and it was very unusual. There was a bright light over the pasture. So we took off over there. I took off, and my husband went to grab the gun. As I topped the hill to go into the clearing of the pasture, there was a triangle craft about, I'd say 75 feet off the ground. It was very, very low. There was 3 lights on the craft, 1 on each corner. the beam of light had one of my cows halfway. It was, I don't know if you'd call it floating, or I couldn't explain it, but it was in the beam of light off the ground. And the beam of light released it. The cow fell. When it fell, it broke its neck. My husband screaming, "Come on, I'm not going to come get you," because he was done freaking out, headed to the house. And I couldn't tell you if I was freaking, if I was in shock or awe. I just stood there. There was no noises other than the cattle. There was no sound of a craft. I mean, I couldn't even hear the cow when it hit the ground. We went back the next morning. I don't know exactly what happened after that. But we went early the next morning. We had 3 cows that was mutilated. Some of the sex organs was took. One of them was a pregnant cow. Its calf was took. Some jaws, just parts. And they looked like they had been surgically removed. But from that point on, my late husband, nor my kids would go out after dark. Now, I won't no more because there's a lot of things that goes on in these skies above my house.
And you're in a part of rural Alabama, right? You're kind of out in the country land, or is it?
I have a little over 1,200. I have a little over 1,200 acres, and my nearest neighbor is like 2 miles down the road. But now I wasn't the only farm that got hit. There was several up in this area that several other farmers had some of their cows taken as well. The police, animal control, they couldn't tell us nothing.
So
actually, it was the state troopers that came up.
Let me ask you this: in Oregon, most recently, there was a big deal because a lot of cows had a similar thing, and even the police said that it was so surgical that there was no blood, there was no nothing, but things were removed without leaving a trace.
There was no blood. There was no blood. There was no tracks of anything other than my cows had been there. I mean, it was like nothing. I mean, I can't explain what happened. I mean, I can tell you what I saw. I can tell you how the cows ended up, but how they got that way, I couldn't tell you. But they were surgically. It looked surgical. It was precision.
Now, you said that they removed a few jaws. Are you saying that the jaws weren't there, or it was empty, or?
The hide and the tongues was removed. You could see just like the bone and the teeth.
And the one that dropped and broke its neck, do you think it already had a broken neck, or do you think it broke its neck because of the fall?
I think it broke its neck because of the fall. That was one that was going to calf on me. She was due. And I lost her and the calf. Matter of fact, the calf wasn't even there. It was took.
Now, have you ever told any of your friends or family about this, other than your kids?
I've mentioned it on occasion, but people they don't want to hear it.
Can I ask, what year was this?
It was in March of 92 or 93.
Have you seen similar things since, or is that was the big thing and it's been calm since?
Oh no, it's not been calm. I've seen there's colored lights that go through my woods. I don't go out there and check it out anymore. I just whatever it is can go on. My woods and skies are very active up here, and I'm not the only. My neighbors have also said something about the traffic at night. You can see lights in the sky, but there's no noise. There's lights that goes through the woods, colored lights, green, yellow, gold.
Can I ask you, have you ever heard or thought, maybe your brain, have you ever heard anything on your roof?
No, but I've had some issues with some dogs. And I have to bring them in at night because they just go stupid. I mean, they just literally go stupid outside sometimes. I've got a German Shepherd. She will jump and try to attack something that I can't see.
That is terrifying.
And that goes on quite a bit.
I didn't expect to get such good calls tonight on this subject. I know that a lot of people have been waiting for something like this and waiting for a show like this. I don't know if you've been watching my show, but I've talked about it for quite a bit. There's been so many people that
I have been watching. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I've been watching you close to 2 years now, but never got up enough nerve to call in.
Well, I'm glad you did tonight. That's an amazing story, and yeah, it kind of gave me chills. Well, is there anything else you would like to say before you go? Again, thank you for your story, Dee.
Thank you for what you do, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you as well. Now, let me ask you.
And
I'm going to let you go, but one more question. Do you still have cows and things? Do you still have livestock?
No, I've gone down to smaller livestock like chickens.
Okay.
I don't raise. It's just me now. I mean, my husband's dead. My kids are grown and gone. I can't afford to run them cattle across the woods anymore. Getting too old.
Well, even if you weren't, I probably wouldn't want to either after having that. So, well, thank you so much, Dee, for your call.
Now we cattle.
We
run cattle cleanup to about 2005, even after that happened.
Ugh.
But that went on. That went on for several months. We lost 3 that first night, and altogether, I think we lost a total of about 12 cows.
Now, did you ever?
And it was over a 3, maybe 4 month period.
Did you ever talk to the news, or did anybody ever ask any questions about it?
No, sir, they sure didn't.
Weird.
It was just up under the rug. It was hush hush.
Well, Dee, it's not going to be hush hush anymore. So, well, thank you so much. And of course, I don't care if it was 1902. That's creepy. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful night, Dee, and God bless you. And I wish you and your family the best for the holidays.
You too, Adam. Y'all stay safe. Thank you.
You as well. Great caller. Dex. Man.
Wow.
That is creepy.
And I only got a little bit of that when I was talking to her. I knew this call was going to be great.
I got
chills.
Yeah, but I don't know. She was a good storyteller too, because I could see it in my head. This cow dropping and snapping it. It's creepy. There's a lot of people with stories like this, and especially the farmers. You don't want to talk about it with your clients, because a lot of the clients that buy their livestock, they don't want to hear that kind of stuff. They'll say, we need to find another company. Off My Lawn, 1M12 Golf Club, thank you for following. What was that?
Yeah, I was gonna say tonight we still have callers, but we've had a lot of calls. So everybody who did not get in, we're gonna do this again, because it's been a lot of calls.
We're gonna do this next Friday. I can't believe how many people are lined up on we've not had that many calls ever. This is the most calls we've ever received. So we're gonna have to do this more. Let's get Bigfoot Lady on. Name is Bigfoot Lady. It's funny, I just mentioned Bigfoot earlier here, but she has some pictures. Let's get Bigfoot Lady on. And we didn't name her that. That's her screen name.
And she's live now.
Bigfoot Lady, you are live on Marfoogle News. Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. I think Dex has a picture that I had taken, and there's some pictures up in the left-hand corner of something. They're kind of flying in formation, and I'll let you guys see what you think.
Okay, I'm loading it up.
This is okay. And this is not the first time I've seen anything in the skies.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, see what you guys think.
Okay, so I just want to zoom in and show you guys the fox is down here. So hold on.
Well, it's actually a coyote.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I apologize. So there's coyote. It's a very clear picture, and then as you scroll up, look at this. What in the world?
They're kind of flying in formation.
What?
And it was like a daytime sighting, kind of around 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I mean, that can't even be what's crazy is the rest of the picture is clear, so it can't be because it shook the camera or anything.
I took it with my cell phone.
No, that's even better. I mean, I'm saying everything is clear, and then this is.
Yeah.
I don't.
And then another
weird.
thing I want to talk to you about is that lady talked about mutilations. I've talked to you before, Adam. I've called in before, but I live in Estes Park, Colorado. And one night I was looking out my window at Lumpy Range. I live by Rocky Mountain National Park. And I saw a big orange glowing thing floating around. And I thought it kind of looked weird. So my friend and I know this author. He writes books on people that go missing, 411. And he's also an investigator with UFOs. And we received some reports of goats that had been mutilated the next day. And we went, his name is David Pilatus. He writes books. And we went and investigated, and there had been like 8 goats that had been mutilated the next day. Their ears had been cut out, their eyes had been cut out, and their rectums had been cut out.
Now,
and that was pretty weird.
You know, so some of that, I have actually assumed that some of that was actually worshipers of the guy downstairs. Part of that, I do believe that there are devil worshipers on the planet. Just because my sister and I ran into some when I was smaller and she was about 20, we ran into them in the woods, and they were chanting, and we ran for our lives. And it was scary as all could be. They were wearing masks. They were chanting. They had cow tongues on it. So I know that there's that, too.
Well, these were still in their pins.
Oh, man. That's either ballsy or even more creepy, because it's right there next to the people,
Yeah,
right?
These were still in their pins. Yeah, they were still in their pins. So, yeah.
Now, I
don't know if anybody would be brave enough to go in their pins and do it.
Now, in that case, do you remember if there was any evidence
of blood?
See, that's the thing, and this has been proven. You know, they've covered this, and it is a fact that when these mutilations happen, they're clean. How is that possible? People, that's the crazy part about this. They don't know how they're doing it. I mean, I don't. And they're not cauterized. How does that even work? I don't understand.
I don't know, but we went and investigated, and I mean, they're clean cuts. Their rectums were cut, you know, and then that orb I had seen floating around by Glen Haven, it was pretty weird. And then back in '93, I seen a similar triangle flying thing, similar, and it ended up in the Denver Post. I wasn't the only person that had seen these, because we were driving and we pulled over, and a bunch of people pulled over, and we watched these things up very, very high, and they were flying so fast. I don't think anybody could fly that fast.
See, that's
a bunch of people reported it.
And that's just another confirmation in my head. It's always where it's against normal physics. Any pilot that's seen it, any person that's ever seen it, the multiple messages I get is, I saw something and it's not explainable because of its movements, or how it moves, or how it turned, or how it went upwards and downwards. That's usually the case. And even when they finally confirm these videos, they go, yeah, that's what makes it a UFO, is that it's not flying like anything we have. Well, thank you, Bigfoot Lady. Is there one more thing you want to say before you go?
Well, and then too many people are seeing these things and they can't explain it. And I think that's another reason that we have too many unexplained things in the universe that we just can't explain. I don't think we're the only life form out there. I really don't.
Well, I know that you have a lot of people that agree with you, and then some say that we are the only planet. Of course, there's a pretty big divide on that subject as well. I believe that there are other things out there. I've seen stuff that I can't explain, but again, I don't claim to know anything about that either, though, because we'll find out eventually. Thank you so much for your call tonight, and don't be a stranger. You don't have to wait another year to call. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Okay. You too.
That was Bigfoot Lady. Her previous call, she actually had a picture of 2 pictures. And, shoot, I should have... I believe she sent me physical pictures. Like 5 by 4 by whatever, 3 by 5s of pictures. And I still have them. I almost want to say they're somewhere within reach. Usually on my old studio it was within reach. They were really creepy pictures because it looked like she caught Bigfoot. Let's see here. We've got our next caller coming up. Let's get through this. Actually, Dex, how much time do we have left on YouTube?
Adam, excuse me, we're doing good. We're about an hour and 30 minutes in total.
Okay, let's get Dana on. And then Dana's from Nevada. Dream about UFOs and remote viewing. Whoa. Okay, let's get Dana in. Dana,
Hi.
you're live.
Boom.
Oh. Hi, Adam. How are you tonight?
I am very good.
What
How
a
are you?
wonderful topic. Boy, you brought the whole plethora of people in, didn't you, on this topic, didn't you?
Oh, man. We've not had so many calls, so I'm glad you got in.
I can't believe I got in. No, and my experience was not a negative one. It was very enlightening, and it led me down a path of starting to grow things. And like I was on the phone, I called a while ago about throw seeds, not stones, but it all spawned from a dream that I had with my dad. And so my topic is remote viewing. And to describe this to people and why I'm calling in, because I'm nervous as heck right now, but the reason why is because of the dream I had with my dad when he passed away with mine in my brother's arms. And he had a similar experience. His was a different path, but we've come together and discussed it with each other and go, oh, that's it. Is unifying the human race at this point in time. And I think there was somebody in the chat that was actually saying something about that too. And I was in agreement with them. I was like, oh, that's it. So what happened was oh gosh, where do I even start? I had this dream about 2 weeks after my dad passed away in 2008. And I didn't believe in UFOs. I didn't believe in any of this stuff. My head was in the sand like an ostrich at that time. And I worked for a grocery store for, whatever. I'm an essential worker now. That's what they would call us. And, it just blew my mind because there's so much happening now that's come to fruition. But with my experience I was with my dad and he showed up. He just showed up in a dream and he's like, it's going to be okay. It's like he was preparing me for what was coming, and now it's happening. So that's what's so bizarre about this being related to UFOs. But I don't know if it's UFO. I wouldn't say UFO. I would see ET or maybe a higher conscious evolution of awakening. And the reason why I come to that conclusion is because of what happened afterwards, synchronistically after my dream. So I had this dream, and then quite a few years later, I ended up at a David Icke show. But it wasn't just David Icke. It was whatever. I don't even know if I can say that. But it was that I met a gentleman who made a documentary called Thrive. And the conclusions of the research on that particular topic have great implications for the human race to move forward with free energy technologies. And I really do think that's what I don't want to say ET, the cattle mutilation might be a substract to what, it's the dark side of it, like you were saying. Are you still there?
Oh yeah, we're all listening.
So I don't know we don't know what's really at the root of all of this madness, other than it's to take away as a human race. And the ironic thing is that I had just finished the series, The 100, and it's about human transcendence. And then your live show popped up, and I'm like, oh my God, what are the odds? And then it was the UFO topic. So to me, that's another synchronicity. I have to call in, but I looked up, I was sitting down in front of, I ended up at the show. I was going to go to a Tool concert, and I got tickets to, this instead because it was closer. It was right next to, of all things, the Rosie Riveter Museum. Was, we can do it, guys. Hey, we can do this. And I look up and there's Foster Gamble, and it just blew my mind because it was the one documentary that had made sense of what my dream was showing me. And what my dad was showing me in my dream was there was this orb, and I reached out because we were really big into Flight of the Navigator, which I think Missing 411 with David Politis, your other caller, was talking about. I was following his work as well. There's a lot of missing links to what, no pun intended, that we have to search out, like telomeres or whatever. My brain is going a million miles a minute. It's just unbelievable that we are so ready. We are at the precipice of a conscious evolutionary change, and we've got this great divide of positive and negative. Now, is that because our planet itself is dealing with that, with all the solar activity and the planetary alignments and Nibiru and everything going on? I mean, I've just done a plethora of research, but what is it that we need to do to unify, to make things move forward? And to me, really, I mean, when I say throw seeds, not stones, really, truly, it's we don't need another war. It's time to put down the guns and unite as a race of species, because we're in a mass extinction event. And I think the ETs are here watching, waiting for us to become a type 1 civilization. And that's what I got from everything and all my synchronistic experiences.
Well,
okay, I'm done.
Oh no,
ranting.
That's great. So I've watched a lot of the Michikaku talking about us evolving into a type 1, and for anybody that was watching us from above, if you think about, we're connecting with computers, we're connecting with we're at the quantum computing stages, we're possibly talking about terraforming other planets. That would be the type 1 where we completely controlled it. So, but very crazy stuff.
Do you ever follow, and I know I got to cut this short, do you ever follow Dr. Greer?
I've watched all sorts of, from David Wilcock to Greer to I've seen them all.
God, love of them.
No, I've seen them all. And
so trying to put your own truth together, because no one person has the answer, but we're all in this together. That's kind of how I feel.
Well, that's what I think too. Greer is you can grab things from every person, but then every person, and for us as people that are reading and researching for these things, it's a fight for us too, because think about it. Greer has their critics. Wilcock has their critics.
Right.
The ex-defense minister of Paul Hellyer, he has his critics. It's like you can grab what you want from all those people, but then there's always these people saying that they're wrong, so we never know what's real, right? But I do think that there's some things that Greer says I agree with.
Right. And some of it is, for me, has been, kind of like, okay, if you go back to Steven Spielberg with E.T., he was a botanist. He came to this planet, the storyline was he was a botanist. He came to this planet just checking out what was, growing. And what a cool concept. But then you've got the spin on the mutilations and stuff, and that's kind of scary too. So what do we believe? And belief is very powerful, and that's what, when I first started listening to a band named Tool with, I like Maynard James Keenan. I've always liked his music, and remember there was a t-shirt that said, believe in nothing, know in everything, which is hard to, fathom, but we're at that precipice. We have like Bear Sheet, we sent this thing. I remember Jacob Israel did a thing on Bear Sheet, and the thing they sent into the, with the Tesla, vehicle into space, and now it's, and it's in the glove box, and I'm just like, the concept of that just blows my mind. Like, why would we do something like that? What the heck? Anyway, it goes down the rabbit hole, but I do want to say this, and it's not my quote. It's not my quote. It's Foster Campbell's quote. There is light at the end of the rabbit hole. Thank you for taking my call.
Well, thank you for calling in, and it's always a pleasure to talk to somebody new with new theories, and you have a great night, and don't be a stranger, okay?
Absolutely not. Thank you so much for what you and Dex do. And God bless you. I hope you feel better with diverticulitis. My mother-in-law has that, so you got this.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I've met so many people with it now. It's horrible. That was Dana. That was Dana from Nevada. Dana and everyone else tonight, great callers. We have just had a plethora of awesome people that have come into here. So, just absolutely amazing tonight. Johnson is somebody who I missed several times, obviously, who is currently at, looks like, the top of the leaderboard. Let's see here. Thank you so much for all of your support tonight, guys. And seriously, amazing people here. Johnson, Veteran Steve, you don't have to do anything. Thank you. You are also on the leaderboard. It looks like Johnson's number 1. Veteran Steve, Gone Girl has come out of nowhere to move into number 3. Thank you. And it looks like you were late. Gone Girl and a couple others. If you guys want to, I was just making sure that I wanted to make sure that there was a couple of you that voiced concern with a couple things. I want to schedule out some, just being able to talk to people. If you do feel like you're, I guess, more scared than anything else right now, I think we should work out something once we have the platform where you can talk to other people and take the fear out of some of this stuff, because some of the subjects that we talk about are scary. We need to be able to talk to each other and talk to somebody that may turn that fear into the opposite. I never want to be fear porn, but unfortunately I talk about the stuff that people are afraid of. We need to turn fear into something that we can harness instead of something that they use to control you. Christopher Jones, have not seen your name on the board, and not in recent memory, so thank you so much. That really means a lot. Machina Opus, you have been there many times, so I thank you so much. Thank you guys, and I understand that it's not easy for everybody to be there, so thank you so much. This month, Gone Girl is actually number 1, period, for the entire month. Thank you. And Johnson, you are actually number 2 this month. Kelly2334, who I hope is amazing today, somewhere. I hope you are amazing. And Merso1, I have not seen tonight. I hope you are doing well. And the NPC show just went crazy this month. I think only on one show, just because he's so busy with his show. He went and ended up number 5 all time. So thank you guys for your massive support tonight. Over on YouTube, Richard White, thank you so much for the super chat. You can always write something there. And then Joseph Newhouse, the video already had 16 views. Thanks. Okay, so also this emote is good sometimes too. Joseph, you are a bag full of random, and I love it. Yolanda Simone, thank you so much for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during a live show, you will get a shout out. And even if you're watching a replay, I will find you and I will shout you out. Neil Nelson, my dad never told anyone while he was alive. See my comment in chat about Werner von Braun. I don't know if you put it there before, but I will have to try to find it. DM me at Marfoogle. Let's see here. By the way, we got that one tweet. I refollowed almost everybody there. I had a daily limit, and then I fixed that. Dex, amazing callers tonight.
You know what, Adam? This is one of those shows. If you guys are thinking about it, you got to share this. There's so much in this show. If it's timeless content. It's something that just about everybody would love. So if you liked what you heard tonight, click that share button and get it out there and share it and grow the fam.
Yeah, we're getting held back for everything we talk about. This is one show that we actually might be able to have people see. We're trying to grow it because we're going to start these groups and get people in state groups preparing. So remember that. That's one of our main points here on Earth. So, I mean, not like I'm not from Earth or anything.
I would rather.
It's officially time for the shoutro.
I would rather live old than die young. I would rather live old.
Thank you for joining
than
us.
die
Be
young.
safe, be prepared, and Marf out.
My gun. No, they're not going to take my gun.
Now it's a shout out. It's not a shoutro. It's not an outro. It's a shout out. It's a shoutro.
I would rather live old than die young. No, they're not going to take my gun. I would rather live old than die young.
What happened? Why'd it pause?
Every lost nose picking, bringing back of the lawn, sickens me with the Adam's 93, 16. La 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 Number one big old energy. Imagine sleep